Yeah.
The 5?
Yeah, it's so
Gary
funny.
V5?
He did something where he went like this to take a photo.
And somebody was like...
And someone like that, he goes...
he was like, don't ever touch my hand. Yeah, I know. So, I haven't been doing speaking for very long.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just like local gigs, you know, like... Alexa's like a professional speaker. She's got this down, right? And so you like move your hands around, or you're like...
I talk with my hands.
Okay, so do I.
So, and everyone that just meets me at like dinner or lunch or something, they're like, yeah, I could tell you're a public speaker. Because I just naturally always
thank you for coming
hands.
to dinner.
Yeah. But when I'm just standing there for an interview, like I usually go like this, or if I'm my hands in my pocket, which is so awkward for a girl a lot of times.
Like doing this number?
But I mean, just kind of like I kind of have to think, how can I stand that's not making me feel awkward? Because you have to show up confidently, right? So like it just really depends on the moment. But no, I don't have like the Gary V thing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, like
yeah.
The 5?
Yeah, it's so
Gary
funny.
V5?
He did something where he went like this to take a photo.
And somebody was like...
And someone like that, he goes...
he was like, don't ever touch my hand. Yeah, I know.
No, I don't have something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you went to the University of Florida.
Yes.
What years did you go?
I graduated 2013.
2013.
Yes.
Okay, now she's based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, so can you tell our audience a little bit about your business and the purpose behind your business?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm the founder and CEO of the Women Empower X, which is now the largest event for female leaders and entrepreneurs on the East Coast. So I host annual events in different cities. We have one in Fort Lauderdale, which this November 9th, is our 4th annual WEX Fort Lauderdale, WEX for short, Women Empower X. And then we have one in Washington, D.C., which we just finished up, and we have 2,500 people come out to that one. Raleigh, North Carolina's new market in October, and then we're expanding to Los Angeles next year.
How many of these are you guys doing?
So now in 2020, it'll be 4.
4, and
yeah,
okay.
So
is it like every quarter, or is it?
Well, we don't do any during the summer. So this year we had DC in June, so like right before people started going on vacation.
Got it.
DC in June, and then we have Raleigh October, Fort Lauderdale November, and then next year will be February, April, October, November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking back to 2013 when you graduated, like, did you ever think that you'd be at this point now?
No, well, because in 2013 my life changed. January 2013, so a few months before I was graduating from UF, I got so sick out of nowhere. Ended up being rushed to the emergency room at Shands Hospital, and my body was going into septic shock. I was induced into a medical coma. The doctors told my mom, call your family, she has 24 hours to live. They gave me a 1% chance of living. I was in a coma in the ICU at Shands for 6 days, in the ICU for 10, and it changed my entire life. So I still graduated on time, moved to New York City, still wanted to pursue my dream, got a dream job working at InStyle magazine, everything I ever wanted, digital marketing in the fashion industry. But then I started getting sick again because all of the antibiotics that were pumping in my body for such a long period of time destroyed my whole gut system, and I ended up being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. Hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. Anybody that has any type of chronic illness knows you can't overcome it. So I had to move home from New York City, and again, this was 2013, now moving back home 2014. So at 21, 22 years old, I felt like all my dreams were just taken from me. And I started my first business when I was 17. So I've always had that fire inside of me, always wanted to make an impact through entrepreneurial endeavors. But now here I am struggling to just feel healthy. And I was in so much physical pain, and it was 4 years of my life until I got to the point where I can actually leave my house.
And what year was that?
Started in 2015. I started getting healthier, and then I got really sick again for a period of 8 months. And then 2016, I was getting healthier and healthier, and actually fall of 2016 was the first Women Empower X. I was still very sick growing this business. People don't realize that, but it's been like this, and I would say the past year and a half, I finally have found stuff that works to allow me to travel. Like coming back from a 14-city speaking tour, I mean, I would have never imagined myself ever. So you asked me like 2013, I did not know what lied ahead of me. I thought I had this near-death experience, that's my story, I overcame it and now everything's uphill from here, but life doesn't work out like that. It's always this, roller coaster. And I was waiting for so long till my life changed to go and do the things that I loved. I'm waiting to get healthy, and then a month goes by, 3 months go by, a year goes by, 2 years, and I'm like, I can't wait anymore. I was so sick and tired of waiting. And so even though my life wasn't perfect and I wasn't at that peak health that I thought that I needed to be in order to achieve what I set out to achieve, I said, you know what? I'm going to share my story vulnerably and authentically. And I always say you must not wait for your life to change. You must change your own life. And I started sharing on social media through live streams on Periscope when that launched. And through these live streams, when I didn't feel good to motivate people, I shared that with them. And I was like, look, I'm not feeling motivated at all. I'm in physical pain. This is what's going on in my life. And that really opened up seeing that people are starving for authenticity and vulnerability and transparency. And the more I shared, the more I grew. And then when I got healthy, then I was able to speak publicly in front of people on stages, and the momentum built.
I mean, when you look back to this period of sickness and you reflect on that, I mean, it's apparent from a very outside perspective that this is something that happened that literally was the momentum, a pivot point in life, this has very much built your brand, right? This is your story. What's it like getting on stage, coming to an event like here in Gainesville, coming back to Gainesville, right, and sharing that with people? What's that feel like?
So that's a good question. There's so many different emotions, but I would say the underlying feeling is purpose. I mean, I'm driven by this purpose. I'm driven by the feeling of what can happen if you just push the boundaries a little bit more of sharing. Because the thing is, anytime I share, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking, because it's one thing to share about something in the past, like my near-death experience. It's a whole other thing to share about what you're currently going through. All of a sudden you open, people into your house, so it goes on behind the doors, and I'm sharing this with strangers. But then people start sharing their story with me, and I've had thousands of people on social media and in real life come up to me and be like, Alexa, I've never shared this with you before, and they share this crazy, intense story that everyone's walking around with what I have an invisible illness. You can't see it. I may look perfect, but inside, I may be not feeling well. I would say every single person has something that they're hiding. And because of that, we're not connecting. And so that feeling of possibility, of what can my story do for others, I mean, that feeling is, it's intangible. You can't touch it. It's just, I feel the most alive on stage.
You're fueling that fire.
And that's why you said, how do I prepare? It's so difficult for me to prepare because I feed off other people's energy. And so when I'm in my room or in my hotel room, I could kind of run through just the bullet points, but when I get on stage, it could be completely different because I'm in the moment.
Right. It's funny because recently I've been talking about how, every once in a while I'll get a message from somebody who's like, oh my gosh, man, that thing that you said, or this post that you made, or this thing, literally, it changed my life. This has changed my perspective on this. I just wanted to let you know that you impacted me in this way. And so a lot of my talk earlier today was very much hey, you don't know, most people aren't going to tell you how much you impacted their life, right? Like think about all the people you all the people you speak to. Like you might get a handful of people that are like, oh my gosh, that was so great. Thank you so much. You really impacted my life, right? And what I consistently tell people is like, there's so many more that aren't telling you, right? So
it's called, like, I like to view it as a ripple effect. So I meet, you know, different go-getters, dreamers, innovators, like people that are doing awesome stuff. And when they say their mission is to, you know, change the stance on like the environment, or to help the world through global warming like issues, or to help society in general, and they say like, what are you doing to make a difference? And I've always been focused on the individual. Like, I really believe that if I can make a small impact on your heart right here, that will take you to make an impact in someone else's life. For you to whether share your story, have the courage to act on what you want. I believe that if everyone's pursuing what they love, the world would be completely different. And so my part in the world and making it a better place is by impacting one person at a time, because that has ripple effects of change. You're not going to be able to see it, like you said, but you have to trust that it's happening.
So what do you tell the people that say, like, because I run into this a lot, they go, nobody cares what I have to say.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about my story. Nobody cares what I have to say. Like, what do you tell those people?
That's a good question. Someone actually said that to me today.
Really?
They said,
Okay.
I don't have a story. I said, everybody has a story. And if you've lived through it, someone else more than likely is living through it now, and your story can help them. And so, if someone says that nobody wants to hear what I have to say, that's your ego talking right now. Like, I always say, drop the E, let that shit go. But like, for real, like if you're saying that, that is just you making an excuse. There's people that are searching for content right now, and like and looking for stories, and if you're gonna say that nobody wants to listen to you, then that's not your target. Those are the people that you don't need to tailor to everyone. So I think that alone is more in tune with their level of confidence, their level of self-worth. There's deeper meanings to that. If someone says nobody cares about to listen to my voice, that has something completely different. But then if they say that I don't have a story, like I have people tell me all the time, like, oh my God, your story is so amazing. My story, I don't really have that like crazy story. This is just my life, what happened.
Yep.
So I asked them, and I said this a little bit in my keynote this morning, what is one challenge, doesn't matter if it's big or small, it does not matter what that challenge is, but what is one challenge or obstacle you've been through that has affected you, that has changed you in a way because it's impacted you? Doesn't matter the size of it, doesn't matter what it is, but that will lead you to discovering your purpose. And that is your niche, that's what you start talking about, that's your story, because that is where you have experience to talk on to someone that's going through that, right? And that's what's helped you become the person you are today, and that's what's going to help you become the person you're meant to be.
This is excellent stuff. Very good. So what's the next 5 to 10 years look like for you and your company?
Good question. So next year is 4 markets, expanding to 4 markets in 2020. So that's, 1 year growth. My 3-year plan is to have my book with a publishing house. So published book and going on a book tour. 5-year plan is a really good question. So this past event in DC, we had people fly from all over, tons of people from Canada, people from all over the country, and we had actually someone even come from Australia just to attend WEX, and someone that flew just from Brazil just to attend WEX.
That's gotta feel super rewarding, right?
Like
like somebody cares that much. I know, that's amazing.
So both of the there's interest to bring WEX to other places. We've had interest here in Gainesville, which is an opportunity to do kind of like a WEX, but maybe focus just on women in tech, because that's an initiative here. So there's other pop-up summits that we may be working towards. Events that are a little bit deeper. Ours is only a 1-day event. Tickets are like $40 because we make it very accessible to anyone and everyone. But we've had a lot of interest in the mastermind, the deeper, content on building your business and brand. So that's an option. But 5 years ago, I never would have seen myself here, and my plan 5 years ago was not here. So I leave it open, but I know every single day I'm working towards the bigger vision of our mission, which is to create a community of women that collaborate versus compete, and to really help individuals take their ideas to that next level. So always rooted in that.
Just somebody that's going to do it, can crush it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Where can our audience connect with you?
Yeah, so
website,
I'm
whatever.
Alexa Rose Carlin, all over social media. Instagram is my main platform, Alexa Rose Carlin. And then for Women Empower X, we're just Women Empower X all over social media as well. You go to womenempowerx.com to see when we're coming to a city near you. And then speaking wise, I speak all over the country, and that's also just like alexarosecarlin.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Say bye to our vlog.